Tasha with Inner Circle University. I'm here to talk about what a qualified candidate looks like to me. If you're unfamiliar with who I am the Director of Hiring Services for Inner Circle University. I primarily help insurance agents across the US find qualified candidates to interview and potentially hire. So qualified candidates, qualified can have a different meaning for several different people. A lot of my clients think qualified means that the individual is already licensed to sell insurance in the state that they are looking. They have previous proven solid sales background and that they're really interested in the position. Nowadays, if you have done any type of hiring recently, you will understand that finding those three qualities in a candidate right now is like finding a unicorn out in the wild. So let's talk a little bit more about what I feel like a qualified candidate means. And before we get into that, let me just give you a little bit of a background on who I am and what makes me qualified to tell you what a qualified person is. So I have an extensive background in staffing, hiring, and human resources, as well as working inside an insurance agency for a few years. So I know what it takes to look for candidates that are looking for work. I know how to identify the potential in someone. Now, that's a very key word, potential. And my background in staffing and human resources allows me to be qualified to tell you all about this. So qualified to me means any combination of the following: previous proven sales or customer service experience, somebody that has a great personality. Sales, as you know, is a lot about the conversation. Finding someone that can easily and comfortably talk with strangers is huge. They may not have that previous sales experience, but that's teachable. Teaching someone how to interact with someone isn't always a luxury that we can do. I'm also looking for people that have the ability to think quickly and on the fly. I will throw some curveball questions at my candidates during the interview and not give them very much time to prepare for a role play session. And I want to see how they're able to quickly turn that into a positive answer for me. Level of interest in the position. I always ask my candidates, what's your level of interest? After you've heard about the position, we talked a little bit about it. On a scale of 1 to 10, what are you thinking? So I know that I'm only putting people in front of my customers that are interested in the position. Education does play a role in my qualifications or what I'm looking for in a qualified candidate, but it's not at the top of my list. If you have a degree, that's great. If you don't have a degree, that's great too. But someone who has been going to school and working towards that degree may not have the strongest work history. And so I'll be able to pull that, that education, that time spent at school, that degree that they've been working on into the conversation to show my client why that person is qualified. Job history, I will take someone that has been with the same company for 5 to 10 years, not necessarily the strongest sales experience, over somebody who is a seasoned sales professional that seems to change jobs every few months or every couple of years. That job history, that proven track record showing that they're dedicated to a company means so much more to me than a proven or sales professional, seasoned sales professional. The next part of what I take a look at in order to determine if a candidate is qualified is how they do with our process. Our process is pretty extensive. They have to submit an application to me, or if I'm proactively recruiting, at least respond to me. There's a little bit of interaction there. Then they need to go out on their own and schedule a time with me. I use a third-party program where they have to follow a link, look at my schedule, find a time, schedule that interview. The next piece is probably the most important. They got to show up for that interview. Now, I do all of my initial interviews through Zoom. So making sure that they show up, they know how to use the technology, they turn the video on, they're interactive with me. That's a big piece of this. Then again, as I mentioned before, they need to express interest. I always ask at the end of my interviews how interested they are. That's a big part of this. And then after I'm done with the interview, there's follow-up. There's assessments that I send out. They need to go out and spend 30 to 45 minutes taking a personality assessment and then stay active with me throughout this entire process. The final step in our process, or with me anyways, is scheduling that interview with the hiring manager. So if they make it all the way through all of those steps in my pre-screening process and they do it easily, they do it properly, they do it within a timely fashion, that is really the stamp of approval on what a qualified candidate looks like to me. So all in all, what I'm trying to say is that a qualified candidate can mean so much more than just previous experience. And especially in today's world, we've got to look for the potential. People don't go out and they're not just born with that sales experience. They have to start somewhere. So that's what I try to encourage my clients to do. Be that first employer to recognize the potential in these sales people and build them up into proven sales leaders. So if you'd like to learn any more about Inner Circle University's recruiting and hiring services, or more about me, head on over to our website. It's www.innercircleu.com.